Hello and welcome. I'm the Reverend Susan Frawley, and it's my honor and privilege to be doing the service today for the Hamburg UU Church. Today we're going to be talking about Hanukkah and customs and rituals. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Our opening words this morning come from Rabbi Jonathan Sacks Lord, and they are, "For my faith is not your faith, and your faith is not mine. If we are each free to light our own flame, together we can banish some of the darkness of the world." Again, the words of Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. We are now going to light our morning chalice. I'm going to light one here in our UU tradition. We light this chalice as a reminder of our purpose in life to drive out fear, hatred, and injustice in the world, and to be the light of social justice, compassion, and love for all humans. And now we are also going to light this morning a Hanukkah. A Hanukkah is similar to a candelabra, a menorah, which you see a traditional one behind me. This is one of our families. It looks like kitty cats. And traditionally, with a Hanukkah, we light the middle candle first. That candle is called a shamash, and it is sometimes called the worker candle because its job is to light all of the other candles on the Hanukkah. We traditionally light left to right. It may look funny on the screen, but I'm going left to right. And because tonight is the fourth night of Hanukkah, I am lighting 4 candles. And the shamash goes back in the middle. And there is a blessing that is said right before or after. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotva, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. And it means, "Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has made us holy through God's commandments and commanded us to light the Hanukkah candles." And so, what is Hanukkah all about? Well, we're about to see a video by a group called the Maccabees, who made a lovely song and story about just what Hanukkah is.
Tonight is Hanukkah, got everything we need. A frying pan, some oil, and a latke recipe. Let's celebrate our ancestry. We've got, the latke recipe. Warm potatoes, peeling great. Shredding onion tears streaming down your face. Then salt and pepper to your taste. Add a tablespoon of flour, a pinch of baking powder. Then add 2 eggs and mix it all together. And while we stir, we sing. Tonight is Hanukkah, got everything we need. A frying pan, some oil for your latke recipe. Let's celebrate our victory. We've got the latke recipe. Pour enough oil to cover the pan. Turn up the heat, but don't burn your hands. Now you are ready to complete the plan. Gonna take a spoon and fill it and pass it on a skillet. Few at a time. Fry one side then the other till both are golden brown. Tonight is Hanukkah, got everything we need. A frying pan, some oil for your latke recipe. Let's celebrate our ancestry. We've got the latke recipe. 2,000 years of joyous celebration. A single jar that burned for 8 days. The food we eat as part of our tradition. It keeps that flame alive. Tonight is Hanukkah, got everything we need. Good friends and family here to try our latke recipe. Best served with applesauce, you see. We've got the latke recipe.
Guys, that was me.
We are now going to take time to think about the joys and concerns that we have. There's a beautiful song that was written by Debbie Friedman of blessed memory. It's called the Misha Bera Song, and we are going to play it in a moment. And as we do, I invite you to think about any of the joys and concerns that you are holding in your heart and your mind, and we will come together afterwards to give blessing and intention to all of that. So please enjoy this song by Debbie Friedman.
May
So what is a dreidel? This is a dreidel. And as you can see, it has 4 sides, and each side has wording upon it. It either says nun, gimel, hey, and shin. And each of those words has a connection within the game. The game is usually played with gold coins called gelt. Long ago it was played with stones or pebbles or small little grains. Where dreidel comes from, though, is quite interesting. It was a game that was played by Jews during a time in the 2nd century BC, when the Greeks did not allow Jews to gather for prayer. It was illegal to study Torah. So Jews created this game. And what would happen is that while studying Torah, if a soldier was seen passing near or by, they would quickly roll up the scroll, and suddenly they would be playing the game. The soldier didn't have an objection to the game, and so life went on. The dreidel also has other wording on it. The wording that's on the dreidel has to do with areas and prayers. When read in the Hebrew, it says a great miracle happened here. Or, if we are not in Israel, it says a great miracle happened there. And somewhere along the way, the game of dreidel became associated with Hanukkah, although its origins really were not connected to that. But since Hanukkah is a time of festive family gatherings, games are played. This was a traditional Jewish game. And so, as time and evolving of rituals and habits came together, dreidel became associated with Hanukkah. And it's a fun game. It's the spinning of the top, and whatever it lands on tells you how many coins you either have to take out, put in, pass, or none. So, as you are playing dreidel, remember that a great miracle happened there, and it was all a part of the Jews, once again, trying to outwit the Greek soldiers so that they could pursue their ability to pray. Debbie Friedman is a very well-known Jewish singer who has contributed in many ways to Jewish education and to enjoyment that people have in their temple services with the wonderful medleys that she's put together. This is a great song that many children have enjoyed, and it's about latkes. We're going to talk about latkes a little bit later. Some of you may be familiar with this pancake type of food that is eaten at Hanukkah time. But for right now, as we look at doing our offertory, please think about contributions that you may want to give to the Amherst UU Church, and enjoy this song by Debbie speaking about what it is to be a latke.
Friends with the onions and the flour, and the cook is scouting oil
My children's teacher in first grade wanted to make an inclusive winter celebration. She asked the children how they used light to celebrate winter holidays. The responses were wonderful. Some spoke of the lights on their Christmas tree. Some spoke about candles in an Advent wreath. A few spoke about lighting candles in an Advent spiral at their church. One child spoke about the Kinara, in which their family lit candles and celebrated African traditions during Kwanzaa. One family had a bonfire to celebrate solstice. And my child talked about the Hanukkah and how we used the light of its candles to celebrate Hanukkah. Now, the first thing you need to know about Hanukkah is not Jewish Christmas. Yes, there are presents and lights, but Hanukkah is a minor holiday in Jewish life. It's celebrated at home and without a lot of fanfare usually. Its occurrence changes each year because the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar, whereas Christmas is part of a Gregorian calendar with more fixed dates, like Christmas, December 25th. Hanukkah is celebrated in the same lunar cycle where the events that brought it about had occurred. The defeat of the Greek army by a tribe called the Maccabees, who were Jewish warriors in the 2nd century BC. The word Hanukkah means dedication. When the Maccabees returned to the temple, they saw that it had been destroyed and desecrated by the Greeks. There was just enough oil for the eternal flame, a light that burns in all temples, to last for one night. It would take 8 days to process oil for the flame, and the Maccabees worried that the eternal flame would be extinguished due to lack of fuel, thus not allowing them to rededicate the temple. But the fuel of the oil in the flame lasted for 8 nights. A miracle happened there. And on the dreidels, it is inscribed in the words, Nes Gadol Hai. A miracle happened there. If we were living in Israel, it would say a miracle happened here. And this is important because Hanukkah is about the celebration of a miracle. Now, the dreidel game is not directly related to Hanukkah. We talked about that a little bit earlier. But it is a tradition of game playing. And somewhere along the way, it has become part of the Hanukkah tradition. Although no one really knows where it melded with that. The dreidel was around before Hanukkah came around. It was part of the way in which Jews found to do Torah study when the Greek army and the Greek rulers did not allow that. They would read their Torah scrolls, and when the soldiers came, they would quickly roll them up and start twirling their tops. Now, dreidel has become a regular part of Hanukkah with gelt. Those are gold coins that are used for the bidding and are part of what the winnings are, since every single symbol on here has to do with giving a coin, losing a coin, getting coins, and giving up coins. Presents were not an original part of Hanukkah, but they came about because of its close connection to what would become the Christmas celebrations. Hanukkah is really about the food. In fact, it's always about the food. A rabbi once gave me a shortcut for every single Jewish holiday. He said this: the Jews were living peacefully. Somebody came along who wanted to destroy them. The Jews survived, and then they ate. Every single Jewish holiday has foods that are specifically connected to that holiday, and Hanukkah is no exception. Hanukkah is all about the oil. Foods that are used are foods that are cooked in oil. Specifically, and most well known, are latkes. Latkes are potato pancakes made from shredded potatoes, mixed and formed together into small mounds, and fried in oil, then served either with applesauce or with sour cream. There are other foods that are connected with Hanukkah as well. These foods are simmus, brisket, challah, rugula, and my favorite, kugel. I've never met a kugel yet that I didn't love. These are some of the traditional foods, and families will gather 8 nights, and they will light the menorah, they will eat food, they will raise a glass of wine and give a celebration, and back to presents. Somewhere along the way, presents became part of the Hanukkah tradition. Each child received 1 present for each night of Hanukkah. It's about kids. Adults don't really exchange presents as part of most rituals, but definitely children receive the presents. But unlike a lot of Christmas presents, Hanukkah presents usually have a little bit of meaning. Some families have a setup where one night is all about books, one night is all about clothing, one night is about experiences, one night is not a present to the children, but the children choose a charity in which they want to give some of their money or savings to help and assist with that. And just like Christmas holidays, some nights are all about underwear and socks too. So again, it's not Christmas. There's no Santa. The children know that it's the parents who are giving them the gifts. And they also know that, again, the gifts are not supposed to be super major. It's simply a way of acknowledging and celebrating children, which is a big part of many Jewish traditions, along with the miracle of Hanukkah. One of the things that is also important to know is that every Hanukkah, an 8-candled item, as I showed behind you and what we lit tonight, is a menorah. But not every menorah is a Hanukkah. So what is the difference? A menorah is a 6-spindled item with 1 candle in the middle, the shamash, and a Hanukkah is one that has 8 places with the shamash. And what this does is help to differentiate lighting and celebration from other holidays to the specialness of what Hanukkah is. So you can use that little piece of trivia when you're gathering with friends or others and explain to them the difference between Hanukkah and menorah. But again, as I was talking about, every one of them has a shamash. And this is very important. Some think about the candles that go on for every single night. But the shamash is one of the most important, even though it doesn't designate one of the nights. It is that helper candle that is so important and so necessary to light all of the others. Without the shamash, we wouldn't have menorah, we wouldn't have Hanukkah, at least not lit. And in our traditions, with our chalice, it itself is a shamash. It is a lighting that's done to illuminate our sense of justice and our sense of duty for work in the world. Without our illuminated light, in realism, the chalice, but hopefully lighting inside ourselves and our hearts, our work doesn't get done. There's a lot of commonness between the lights that are used in UU Church ritual and the lights that are used in Jewish traditions as well. And lights are also used in others, as we spoke about, from family traditions to some religious traditions and some cultural traditions. Without light in this season of darkness, we would not be able to see each other, to connect with each other, and to know that even in darkness, there is hope. And what's important, as we go back to that shamash, is the work that it does and that it allows us to do. The connectedness of other faiths and traditions by the use of light or food and community, be it family or in the past and hopefully in the future again, large gatherings, it's an important part of honoring our greater world. We begin not to see each other as Christian, Jew, atheist, red or blue, right or wrong, but as common citizens of the earth, our blue boat home, and to honor and celebrate and learn from each other. And that is so much more healthy than the fear and the fighting that's creating darkness in our world right now. If COVID has taught us anything, it is that the world and life is ours to heal if we just take the step. And the step that I give to you tonight is to be the shamash, be the light, be the spirit of the season, be blessed. And so be it. Amen and awomen. I invite you to take a moment and to listen to this beautiful song. It is by Peter, Paul, and Mary. Some of you may be very familiar with it. What you might not know is the backstory. Peter Yarrow, who is a member of the group, was talking with some other Jews who said, there are no Jewish songs. There's nothing to sing in terms of the more modern music. Peter, Paul, and Mary were going to be doing a concert. And together with Paul Stuckey, one of his collaborators, Peter, Paul, and Mary came up with this song, which honors and celebrates the tradition of Hanukkah, of Jewish background, but also of the greater aspect of what light is in the world. So please enjoy this and please reflect on this.
Light one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks that their light didn't die. And light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. And light one candle for those who are suffering pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, let anger not tear us apart. And light one candle to bind us together, with peace as the song in our heart. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears.
What is the memory that's valued so highly that we keep it light in that flame? What's the commitment to those who've died? We cry out they've not died in vain. We have come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is the burden, this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasting for so many years.
to thank you for being here today, for taking the time to learn about Hanukkah, about some of its history, about its rituals. I also want to thank you for participating with the Hamburg UU Church. It's a pleasure and a joy for me to be here, and I'm glad you made this choice today as well. As we begin to close our celebration and our service today, I again want to remind you and leave you with this benediction of sorts. Be the shmash. Be the light that lights others. Be the source that illuminates and brings out the best and the shining of others' abilities, that allows for others to be their best self as you work to be your best self. If we are all doing this together, with the shamash lighting every other candle, we will be a bright beacon of hope, of love, of compassion. So be it. Have a good weekend. Thank you again so much for being here. Goodbye.